So when we talk about the Dallas Cowboys heading into this season, I think one of the most underrated storylines that really hasn't gotten enough attention is what's going on with the interior offensive line, because for all the national buzz about Dak Prescott's contract and injury recovery, CeeDee Lamb's situation over the past year or so, or even the hiring of Brian Schottenheimer, this offensive line is going to be the engine that determines what kind of team they actually are in 2025. And specifically, when you look at what's happening at left guard and center, this group is going through a major identity shift. Tyler Booker was drafted to fill the void at right guard, but Tyler Smith has already become a cornerstone, and now he's being asked to step up in a leadership role. And when it comes to the actual battles happening in camp, there's a lot more uncertainty than people might realize. Let's start at the center position, because for all the talk about Brock Hoffman last season, how he stepped in and held down the job for stretches of 2024, there's a very real question right now about whether or not he's the long-term answer. The Cowboys like Hoffman, they trust him, he's smart, he's tough, and he does what they ask, but if we're being honest here, he's a bit of a stopgag. But still, them re-signing him shows the trust, and when they drafted Beebe out of Kansas State in 2024, a lot of people thought he was being brought in to compete at left guard, but based on everything we've heard coming out of camp, that's not the case anymore, because as it stands right now, Beebe is established as the starting center, having started 16 games at the position in his rookie season. Not Hoffman, not a veteran, not some midseason trade candidate, a second-year player who proved in 2024 that he can handle the responsibility. That's the direction this staff confirmed during his rookie year, and it says a lot about how much faith they have in his football IQ and toughness. They think he can be their next Travis Frederick, and while that's obviously a huge comparison, Beebe took starter reps at center throughout his first season and proved he belonged. He's not being eased in anymore. He's the established starter entering year 2, so I expect a big leap. Now, you might be wondering why Beebe was shifted to center when he was so effective at guard in college, and it really comes down to how much the Cowboys value versatility and mental processing at the pivot. They've done this before. They want their centers to be extensions of the quarterback, guys who can make the calls, set protections, and get up to the second level in the run game, and Beebe checks every single one of those boxes. He's played all over the line, he's technically sound, and he's powerful enough to anchor against elite interior rushers. But the thing that separates him isn't just the tape, it's the way the coaching staff talks about him. They trust this guy, they see him as their anchor moving forward, as I mentioned, and you don't say that lightly when it comes to the center position. So when they started giving him consistent center reps in his rookie year, that's when this whole conversation became settled. Brock Hoffman is still in the picture as valuable depth, but make no mistake about it, this is Beebe's job. And then you get to the guard positions, which have quietly become major transition points on the entire roster. And this is where things get really interesting, because with the retirement of Zach Martin, the Cowboys used their first round pick on Alabama's Tyler Booker, who is expected to step into the right guard role immediately. I know I've kind of mentioned this a few times before if you've watched my other Cowboys videos, but I just think it's so funny how everyone the Cowboys draft is named Tyler. Jerry Jones has a crush on Tylers. But anyways, he brings some elite run blocking ability and was specifically chosen to replace Martin's production. He's been taking first team reps ever since he arrived, and the staff is really high on his physicality and also demeanor. And meanwhile at left guard, you have Tyler Smith firmly entrenched as one of the best players on the line. The competition now revolves around depth, with players like Robert Jones, Sadiq Charles, TJ Bass, Asim Richards, and Brock Hoffman all fighting for backup roles and potential starting opportunities if injuries eventually hit, which they of course do throughout the course of a season. It's a very physical sport, and you're bound to have at least 1 or 2 injuries on both the offensive and defensive line. That being said, the depth competition is very real. TJ Bass has shown flashes over his first 2 seasons and has started 5 games before, but he's facing significant competition from the veteran additions. Robert Jones brings 4 years of starting experience from Miami, while Sadiq Charles is a former Washington starter coming out of retirement, and then Bass is going to have to prove himself to this new coaching staff under Brian Schottenheimer and offensive coordinator Clayton Adams. And then there's Richards, who has primarily been working at tackle, but he could factor into the guard competition as well. Richards started the game last season and has shown promise as a versatile option. So the competition is wide open. That's kind of my main point here, and training camp will determine who emerges as the primary backups and special packages contributors. Now, here's the part that I think fans need to understand. This entire offensive line is going to look different without Zach Martin and without Tyler Biadasz, and you're not just replacing names, you're replacing chemistry, you're replacing leadership. And while guys like Beebe and Booker might be more athletic than some of the players they're replacing, it's going to take some time to build that cohesion. Offensive line play is all about continuity, and right now, the Cowboys are going through one of their biggest transition periods up front since 2015. the foundation is still strong. There's no doubt about that. Tyler Smith is a star. Tyler Booker is a first-round talent. I'm so excited about him. And Terrence Steele is back at right tackle, but the interior has been significantly revamped. So when people talk about this team being a contender or not, it's not just about Dak. It's not just about CeeDee. It's about whether this offensive line can come together in time. The good news is Brian Schottenheimer and Clayton Adams are very clear about what they want. They want to be nasty. They want smart, physical, high-effort linemen who can move bodies around in the run game and keep the pocket clean for Dak. And that's why I think they're going to give these young guys every opportunity to win jobs or at least get on the field. They're not chasing big-name veterans beyond their targeted additions. They're not overpaying for stopgags. They believe in developing from within, and they've doubled down on that philosophy and approach. With this year's draft and what they've done over the last few months. So if Beebe continues his development and Booker lives up to his first round billing, then this team is going to be riding into the season with a young but talented interior, which opens up future flexibility, and that's not a coincidence. And from a schematic perspective, the addition of Booker and the continued development of Beebe could unlock more inside zone and gap scheme concepts, which plays perfectly into what the new running backs Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders have thrived with during their careers. If these backs get any workload at all, they're going to benefit massively from more push up front. And if the Cowboys want to get back to being that downhill, punch you in the mouth type of offense that wears teams down in the second half, that starts with the interior line winning consistently. It starts with not getting blown up on 3rd and 2. It starts with letting Dak step into clean pockets on play action. You can have all the perimeter speed and passing game weapons you want, but if you can't move people in the trenches, you're going to get exposed in December. Now, obviously, there's a world where things don't click right away. Booker could struggle with the speed of the game. The depth pieces could be solid but not great. And if injuries hit again, like they did last season, all of a sudden you're dipping into that second wave of depth. Guys like Hoffman, Bass, Richards, and the new veteran additions. But that's a gamble the Cowboys are willing to take. They're betting on youth, they're betting on talent, and they're betting that these young guys can be good enough, fast enough, and all that other kind of stuff to keep the offense on schedule. And honestly, I get it. If you're ever going to do a significant transition up front, this is the year to do it. Dak is signed long term, you've got weapons on favorable deals, and the core of your line, Tyler Smith, Tyler Booker, and Steele, gives you enough of a foundation to bring other pieces along. But let's not sugarcoat it. If this line doesn't hold up, if Booker isn't ready right away, if the depth can't anchor against top tier rushers, then this offense is going to struggle, especially in the first half of the season. It's really that simple. Because everything in this scheme is built on timing and rhythm, and whether the interior line starts leaking pressure, that's when Dak's mechanics get rushed, that's when the run game stalls, and that's when the whole thing falls apart. So yeah, it's not the sexiest storyline in Dallas right now or the best thing to talk about. If you're trying to figure out whether the 2025 Cowboys can actually compete and even win the NFC East and have a complete bounce back season, then I think a lot of the questions you should be asking and wondering about is with this offensive line, because the offensive line is the most important unit in football, and I think the Cowboys have a lot riding on the performance of this O-line. But yeah, thank you all so much if you made it to this point. Let me know what you guys thought about this one in the comments below. And if you enjoyed and haven't yet, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe, because your support truly does mean the world. And also let me know what you would like to see next. And until then, I will see you all later.